That's why Drury's is always dry.
Used to make the finest beer possible, even to
Makes Gobu more satisfying than ever before. See for yourself.
The 1960s weren't just an era of rock and roll and rebellion. It was also a wild decade for liquor innovation gone wrong. As America's drinking culture evolved, countless distillers and breweries rushed to cash in on flashy trends, patriotic marketing, and space-age gimmicks. But for every success story, there were dozens of spectacular flops. So, join us today in exploring 25 liquor brands from the 1960s that failed miserably. Old Quaker Bourbon tried to rise from the ashes of its Prohibition-era fame, but its comeback lacked the soul that once defined it. Once respected as a reliable pre-Prohibition label, its 1960s revival felt hollow, relying more on nostalgia than genuine craftsmanship. The packaging echoed tradition with colonial fonts and rustic imagery, yet the flavor was thin, grainy, and forgettable.
Caramel's present, but that vanilla is it's very overpowering on this one, as well as that citrus.
Competing bourbons had evolved, offering smoother blends and stronger identities, while Old Quaker clung to an outdated image. Its limited marketing failed to capture younger drinkers, and older fans found the taste unrecognizable. Within a few years, the brand quietly slipped back into obscurity, a failed resurrection that proved heritage alone couldn't sustain a bourbon without true distinction. If a resurrected relic like Old Quaker couldn't hold on to its old glory, could a cheaper bourbon like Kentucky Bow fare any better in a market dominated by legends? Kentucky Bow arrived with charm in its name, but not in its glass. Positioned as a budget bourbon for everyday drinkers, it promised Southern elegance at an affordable price.
Kentucky Bow. Kentucky Bow. Kentucky whiskey, a blend. Beau is like an old French word, means like your boyfriend. But we don't want a boyfriend, we just want to try the whiskey. Okay.
Unfortunately, it lacked the complexity, warmth, and aging finesse of its higher-end Kentucky rivals. The label's plain design and uninspired flavor profile made it easy to overlook, and its affordability couldn't outweigh mediocrity. Bourbon connoisseurs dismissed it as a watered-down imitation, while casual drinkers gravitated toward more recognizable names. Kentucky Bow's brief shelf life reflected its core problem. It neither tasted premium nor offered real value. In the end, it became one of many low-tier brands swept aside during the bourbon boom, remembered more for its forgettable blandness than its beauty. Old Drum Whiskey tried to march toward national recognition with a name that evoked heritage and rhythm, but its beat was drowned out quickly. Initially popular in a few Midwestern markets, the brand failed to scale beyond regional loyalty. Its marketing was modest, relying on word of mouth and local tavern sales, yet it couldn't compete against well-funded national distillers.
Just one more on my bottle hunting today. I got the Old Drum You Can't Beat It blended whiskey, and it comes with a 3 1/8 cent.
The whiskey's character, strong but uneven, earned it mixed reviews, appealing to a small niche of budget drinkers but alienating others who expected refinement. Without strong distribution or distinctive branding, Old Drum never found its rhythm in the expanding liquor industry. It faded quietly, another regional relic unable to keep pace with the louder, better-financed competitors dominating the shelves. Golden Age Rye entered the market with a name that promised a revival of tradition, yet it arrived during one of the most unfavorable times for rye whiskey. As American drinkers turned toward lighter spirits like vodka and blended whiskey, Rye's bold, spicy character had fallen out of favor. The brand's nostalgic packaging, depicting colonial-style motifs, couldn't disguise its harsh, unrefined taste or inconsistent aging.
Doing a tasting today of J.W. Kelly's Golden Age Straight Rye Whiskey. Now, being that it's a straight...
Marketing pitched it as a return to classic American craftsmanship, but consumers found it neither smooth nor distinctive. Bars and liquor stores stopped stocking it as demand dwindled, and distributors quickly dropped support. Despite its confident name, Golden Age Rye was more of a historical echo than a comeback, another casualty of rye's mid-century decline. If even a rye named Golden Age couldn't capture attention, Could patriotic branding and nostalgia save something like Colonial Club from the same fate? Colonial Club. Whiskey tried to tap into patriotic pride, but what flowed from the bottle left little to celebrate. Draped in red, white, and blue branding, it sold the dream of American heritage while delivering a flat, grain-heavy flavor that disappointed even bargain hunters.
A very classic, we'll call it Big Dog Irish whiskey. When you think about the major Irish whiskey producers you have.
Its affordability made it accessible, but its rough finish and lack of character kept it off repeat buy lists. Advertisements boasted honest craftsmanship, yet reviews often mocked it as cheap and biting. Competing budget whiskeys from established distilleries easily outshone it in smoothness and quality. Colonial Club's biggest flaw wasn't its nationalism, it was the disconnect between image and substance. In the end, patriotic labeling couldn't mask a poor pour, sealing its quick downfall. Before the modern craft beer boom, Ballantine IPA was a bold experiment far ahead of its time. Brewed with higher hops and complexity than typical American lagers, it offered a bitter, aromatic profile that confused more than delighted 1960s and 1970s palates. Most beer drinkers wanted something easy drinking, not intensely flavored.
Beers is Ballantine produced?
Well, Ballantine, you have the Ballantine Ale and the Ballantine IPA, the only two that are on the market right now.
We just had some people come up
and the IPA's unique taste became its undoing. Ballantine's marketing tried to frame it as a premium ale for discerning tastes, but the mainstream wasn't ready for it. Sales declined as lighter beers took over bars and supermarkets. Ironically, decades later, its recipe would inspire the American craft IPA movement. But in its own era, Ballantine IPA was simply too different to survive commercial reality. Schaefer Beer was once a household name in American brewing, remembered fondly for its catchy slogan, "The one beer to have when you're having more than one." As one of the nation's oldest and most trusted breweries, Schaefer built a loyal following through its smooth, easy-drinking lagers and working-class appeal.
When it's got to be Schaefer. Schaefer, like any fine beer, tastes wonderful in that first cold glass. But
by the 1970s, the tide had turned. The dominance of national powerhouses like Budweiser and Miller, paired with the early rise of light beers and shifting consumer preferences, left Schaefer struggling to stay relevant. Efforts to rebrand and expand distribution failed to reverse the decline. Corporate mergers further diluted its original identity, turning a proud, independent label into just another name on a mass-market shelf. Today, Schaefer survives only as a nostalgic symbol of America's brewing past. Hamm's Draft entered the market with the promise of reviving the classic Hamm's legacy through a fresher, on-tap experience, but it struggled to carve its own identity. Instead of appealing to a younger demographic, it confused loyal drinkers who preferred the original's signature lightness and charm.
Pour an ice-cold Hamm's and treat yourself to the premium beer from the land of sky-blue waters. Great-tasting Hamm's.
The marketing leaned heavily on nostalgia, complete with the iconic Hamm's Bear, but offered little innovation to back it up. Competing brands like Budweiser and Miller were investing in sleek, modern packaging and aggressive national campaigns while Hamm's Draft felt outdated. Its taste was described as indistinct, lacking both the crispness of popular lagers and the depth of craft styles emerging on the scene. Ultimately, Hamm's Draft was forgotten, another casualty of brand dilution. Burgermeister beer, fondly known as Bergie, once stood as a symbol of West Coast pride and easygoing refreshment. Brewed in San Francisco, it built its reputation on affordability, light flavor, and a friendly image that resonated with everyday drinkers. Its quirky advertising campaigns, often featuring catchy jingles and local themes, helped cement it as a hometown favorite. However, as national brands tightened their grip on the market,
why don't you enjoy a Bergie right now while you're watching TV?
Bergie is brewed for refreshing people. Bergie is crisp and cool and...
Burgermeister found it increasingly difficult to compete. Attempts to revive the label with updated packaging and broader distribution failed to capture new audiences. Frequent ownership changes only weakened its consistency and charm. In the end, Berge couldn't hold its ground, fading from shelves but lingering fondly in the memories of classic American beer lovers. National Premium was a proud Maryland favorite, brewed with the intent of offering a smoother, higher-quality alternative to mainstream lagers. For years, it held its own as a beloved regional label. However, when national beer brands began flooding markets with cheaper, heavily advertised options, National Premium couldn't keep up.
This is one of the world's great beers, National Premium. It's not how much we brew, but how well. Compare the taste of National Premium with Heineken.
Its small-scale production limited expansion, and the brand's marketing failed to evolve with the times. Drinkers began viewing it as an old-fashioned choice, respectable but uninspired. Despite a loyal following in Baltimore and beyond, financial pressures forced it to vanish from shelves. In hindsight, National Premium's demise mirrored the larger collapse of local breweries swallowed by America's mass-produced beer machine, a brand that disappeared for decades before a modern revival. Roma Wines once stood as a symbol of California winemaking success, proudly calling itself America's largest-selling wine. But behind that grandeur lay poor management, shifting consumer tastes, and a lack of innovation.
Also from France, but that we often know under its new identity in other parts of the world where they call it Shiraz. So let's go to the beginning and look at the lightest one of these wines.
As table wines gained favor over fortified varieties, Roma failed to adapt, sticking to outdated production methods and uninspired blends. The brand's advertising, once omnipresent on radio and TV, began to fade as competitors like Gallo modernized their image and quality. Internal financial missteps compounded its decline, leading distributors to abandon it. What was once an empire spanning coast to coast disintegrated under the weight of its own complacency. Roma's story serves as a stark warning that dominance without reinvention never lasts in the liquor world. If mismanagement toppled a wine empire, could bold marketing aimed at youth save a brand like Silver Satin, or would controversy end that dream too? Silver Satin wine tried to make luxury accessible, but its sweet, fortified formula and flashy name couldn't disguise its reputation as a cheap thrill drink. Marketed aggressively to urban youth through bold ads and low prices, it soon drew criticism for promoting excessive drinking among teens and low-income communities.
I truly believe sweet wines can be something magical and offer flavors and complexity that dry, still wines simply can't.
The wine's high alcohol content and syrupy flavor made it popular briefly, but also infamous. Public backlash and local crackdowns on street wines sealed its fate. Even loyal fans began switching to lighter, more sophisticated options as wine culture evolved. Silver Satin's attempt to blend glamour with grit backfired spectacularly, turning it from a hopeful youth brand into a cautionary example of tone-deaf liquor marketing gone wrong. Draped in Southern charm and nostalgic imagery, King Cotton wine aimed to bottle the warmth of Dixie hospitality, but ended up tasting more like marketing than mastery. Its syrupy sweetness and heavy fortified base alienated serious wine drinkers, while casual consumers preferred trendier California table wines. The brand leaned on plantation-style motifs and vintage fonts, a tone that quickly felt outdated and awkward in a changing cultural climate.
So the wine was fermented in stainless steel tanks, and then it was aged for 8 months in...
Attempts to position it as an affordable Southern luxury only highlighted its lack of finesse. Critics dismissed it as overly sugary and unrefined, comparing it to dessert syrup rather than true wine. Without a distinct flavor or modern appeal, King Cotton became another forgotten relic of the regionally themed liquor craze. Drury's Beer was a proud Midwestern label that once embodied the straightforward, no-nonsense spirit of American brewing. Known for its crisp, unpretentious taste and modest price, it appealed to working-class drinkers who valued consistency over trendiness.
That's why Drury's is the beer with the one big difference.
It's Drury's for you.
Originating from a long brewing tradition, breweries built regional loyalty through community sponsorships and local advertising. Yet, as national breweries began flooding the market with heavily promoted brands, Drury's struggled to keep pace. Its traditional image felt outdated against the flashier, modern marketing of competitors. Distribution challenges and cost-cutting measures further weakened its quality and reputation. Eventually, Drury's vanished from the mainstream, remembered more for its nostalgic label and blue-collar roots than for its staying power. Today, it stands as a quiet reminder of America's lost regional beer heritage. Drury's Old Stock Ale was an ambitious offshoot of the classic Drury's lineup, crafted to appeal to drinkers seeking something richer and more robust than the brand's standard lagers. With its deep amber hue and malty backbone, it aimed to bridge the gap between traditional ales and the emerging demand for premium beers.
But the important point is that every single drop of Drury's beer is brewed and mellowed an exclusive, controlled way.
Marketed as a hearty, full-bodied brew for discerning tastes, it carried an old-world charm that contrasted with the lighter, mass-produced beers dominating shelves. However, its heavier profile and limited advertising reach restricted its audience. Many casual beer drinkers found it too strong, while aficionados dismissed it as lacking true craft character. Ultimately, Drury's Old Stock Ale disappeared quietly, remembered only as a bold but short-lived experiment in a rapidly changing beer landscape. Falstaff Beer was once a towering name in American brewing, rising from regional favorite to one of the largest beer producers in the country. Known for its mild, easy-drinking flavor and approachable price, it catered to the everyday beer drinker rather than the connoisseur.
Ready to enjoy it. A taste to satisfy your biggest thirst, yet light enough to leave room for more. Try it. For man-sized pleasure, this is...
For decades, Falstaff's image was built on reliability and hometown pride, symbolizing blue-collar America at its thirstiest. Yet, its greatest strength became its downfall. As consumer tastes shifted toward lighter, more modern beers, Falstaff's old-fashioned formula and branding felt stale. Corporate acquisitions and inconsistent brewing quality eroded loyalty, while marketing missteps failed to attract new fans. Despite its proud heritage, Falstaff could not adapt to a changing industry, leaving behind only memories of a once great name poured from the heartland. Falls City Beer began as a Louisville staple, built on community pride and the promise of honest, straightforward brewing. Its crisp, balanced taste and affordable price made it a favorite among local drinkers, while its independence gave it a sense of authenticity larger brands lacked.
Falls City.
Falls City's a light-bodied beer that's brewed for full flavor. Compare the taste, compare the price. You'll pick a city.
However, as national beer conglomerates expanded their dominance, Falls City found itself struggling to compete on marketing and distribution. Efforts to modernize its image, including experimental light beers and edgy advertising, failed to resonate with a wider audience. Loyal fans lamented changes to its formula, while newcomers overlooked it entirely. Eventually, the brand's regional strength faded under corporate pressure. Though long gone from mainstream shelves, Falls City remains a nostalgic emblem of small-town brewing spirit and Midwestern perseverance. Goebel Beer was once a proud Detroit label that embodied the working-class character of the American Midwest. Known for its straightforward, no-frills flavor and affordability, it appealed to factory workers and neighborhood taverns that valued tradition over trend. For decades, Goebel maintained strong regional loyalty, standing as a hometown alternative to national brands.
Happy thought is right. When you serve Goebel at dinner time or any time, you're sure to make a hit. Today, Goebel is better than ever.
But as brewing giants like Anheuser-Busch and Miller expanded, Goebel struggled to keep pace with modern marketing, lighter recipes, and sleek packaging. Attempts to refresh its image and appeal to younger drinkers fell flat, alienating its core fans while failing to attract new ones. Corporate buyouts further diluted its identity, turning a beloved local beer into a forgotten footnote. Today, Goebel survives mostly in memory, an echo of Detroit's gritty brewing heritage. Hootapole Beer, affectionately known as Hootie, was once the pride of Cincinnati. Celebrated for its smooth, full-bodied flavor and strong community roots. Brewed by the Hudepohl Brewing Company, it stood as a symbol of Midwestern craftsmanship and local loyalty. Generations of families kept Hootie in their refrigerators.
It happened on an early run with a load of 14K as Pete and Max began to stock the Rising Moon Cafe.
Favoring it over national competitors for its familiar taste and honest reputation. However, as massive brewing corporations expanded nationwide, Hudepohl struggled to compete with their aggressive advertising and distribution power. Attempts to modernize the brand with new packaging and slogans couldn't overcome declining sales. Eventually, the independent spirit that once defined Hudepohl faded amid consolidations and closures. Yet, for many Ohioans, Hootie remains a cherished memory, a golden reminder of when local beer truly meant hometown pride. Lucky Lager was once one of the most recognizable names on the West Coast, famous for its iconic red X logo and light, approachable flavor. Marketed as the beer for everyone, Lucky built its identity on affordability and clever branding, especially the puzzles printed under each bottle cap, which became a cultural phenomenon. For years, it thrived among working-class drinkers who...
In the U.S., the brand is now owned by Pabst Brewing Company. I mean, honestly, at this point, who else? Of course it was Pabst Brewing Company.
Appreciated its no-nonsense character. But as consumer preferences shifted toward lighter and more heavily advertised national brands, Lucky's charm began to fade. Efforts to modernize its image only diluted its original appeal, leaving longtime fans disillusioned. Corporate mergers and inconsistent brewing quality sealed its fate. Today, Lucky Lager lingers as a nostalgic symbol of mid-century Americana, simple, friendly, and forever chasing its former glory. Trader Vic's rum had all the ingredients for success: tropical imagery, name recognition from the famed tiki restaurant chain, and a rich association with exotic cocktails. But as the tiki craze began to fade, so too did enthusiasm for its branded spirits. The rum itself, while serviceable in mixed drinks, lacked complexity and depth when compared to premium Caribbean labels.
Yeah. It tastes very...
rummery.
Yeah, it's got rum to it, but it's got a... kind of a...
Consumers seeking authenticity gravitated toward brands with real island heritage, leaving Trader Vic's rum looking more like a marketing extension than a true spirit contender. The company underestimated how quickly the cultural shift away from Polynesian kitsch would hit. Once tiki bars lost their allure, Trader Vic's rum was left stranded, proof that themed nostalgia can't sustain a weak product line. Narragansett beer was once the pride of New England, its crisp, refreshing flavor making it the go-to brew from Rhode Island to Boston taverns. Promoted with the catchy slogan, "Hi neighbor, have a Gansett," it captured the spirit of hardworking coastal America. Its accessible taste and hometown authenticity helped it dominate the regional market for decades. However, as national beer conglomerates expanded,
stuff like this is not available to me. I wish it was, because this is really, really good. I like it. I mean, it's nothing mind-blowing. It's nothing that's going to change your life, but it's a really solid, tasty, easy-drinking lager.
Narragansett's local charm struggled to compete with the advertising muscle and modern packaging of big brands. Attempts to rebrand and widen distribution only diluted its identity, pushing it further from its loyal base. Eventually, production halted, and the brand faded into nostalgia. Though later revived in name, the original Narragansett of old remains a beloved memory from beer's golden regional era. But could tropical backyard fun and flaming cocktails help Island Flame keep the party alive? Island Flame rum burst onto the scene promising a tropical escape in every bottle, complete with bright labels, palm trees, and the slogan, "Ignite Your Island Spirit." Aimed squarely at the backyard luau crowd, it tried to ride the waning wave of tiki culture that had defined the previous decade. Unfortunately, its cheap blending and artificial coconut undertones made it taste more like syrup than sunshine.
So instead, I'm using a combination of passion fruit puree, water,
and simple syrup. Lastly, I don't have the 100 proof rum.
Party hosts who tried it once often went back to familiar names like Bacardi for consistent flavor. Without real Caribbean heritage or mixology appeal, Island Flame was quickly dismissed as a gimmick rum built for novelty, not quality. When the tiki torch dimmed, this brand flickered out just as swiftly, leaving barely an ember behind. Tropic Isle rum had all the right aesthetics: a sea blue bottle, exotic branding, and promises of authentic Caribbean smoothness. Yet, beneath the packaging, it struggled with one fatal flaw: poor distribution. Small liquor stores rarely carried it, and when they did, few customers noticed among better-known imports. Its mid-tier flavor, neither refined enough for connoisseurs nor cheap enough for casual drinkers,
None of this! Don't want to see this! Up here, hard and fast, 10, 12 seconds, go!
left it stranded in no man's land. Advertising was minimal, and without a strong importer or marketing push, Tropic Isle never built a loyal base. Bartenders didn't recommend it, retailers didn't reorder it, and consumers forgot it existed. Though it tried to embody tropical escapism, Tropic Isle ultimately became a deserted island in the rum market's crowded sea. With a name evoking sophistication and nobility, Rum Royale attempted to sell itself as a top-shelf aged rum for refined palates. The problem was that its quality didn't match its price. While the bottle design screamed luxury, with gold foiling and regal lettering, the flavor was thin and underwhelming compared to true Caribbean rums aged in oak barrels. Critics called it all crown, no kingdom.
But overall, if the age of that rum is higher, if it's older, typically it's going to be more.
Cocktail enthusiasts ignored it, and even collectors found it lacking character. Consumers expecting velvety smoothness were met instead with a sharp, unbalanced taste that couldn't justify its premium tag. Despite trying to court an upscale audience, Rum Royale's failure proved that elegance on the outside means nothing if the spirit inside doesn't deliver royalty in the glass.